tech partners were not very open-minded in terms of building that triangle around the relationship.
The agency is never going to think about commissions when deciding whether to refer you business.
We have synergies, we have similar frequency of, understanding, and our vision is aligned, and our vision is aligned, and our vision is aligned.
Welcome to Make Them Famous, the podcast about partner enablement.
The only podcast to uncover both how partner teams enable their partners
and how other department leaders enable their partner teams to achieve success.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Make Them Famous, the podcast where you learn how partnerships work. Typically, we do this by interviewing someone on both sides of the partnership equation. Today is no exception. I like this type of episode that you're about to hear because we dive into an early stage partnership and help the CEO on the tech side understand what the partner really needs to make this work. This episode happened on the fly when I was demoing Partner Hub to an agency, Masood, CEO of Facebook Ads, and his tech partner, Raj, CEO of Hayeks.ai, simultaneously. We started recording because this duo had such a cool, interesting story. And we were at this stage in partnership where the three of us could formalize some of the next steps for you live on this episode. On this recording, we discuss what they did together early on to activate the relationship, how they qualified each other to be potential partners more than just a user relationship, how Massoud, the agency partner in this case study, is helping Raj formalize the program and why he's doing that, what Masood and I recommend to Raj for communication and operations best practices, what incentive structure should be in place early on and how to implement and track that, what an early stage tech stack should look like to manage partnerships, how the circles strategy can add a level of retention to his partnerships, which will keep the partners through product declines and product dips. Why Raj should not think about scaling his program now, if ever. I hope you enjoy this episode format of live program strategy development. If you do, or if you have any other feedback, positive or negative, please email me, alex@partnerprograms.io. As usual, before we kick off, please take 2 minutes to learn about 3 platforms which can help you grow your partner program. First, Partner Stack. Partner Stack is the #1 rated partner platform for software companies. Partner Stack works with top companies like Monday.com, Unbounce, who was just on the podcast, Intercom, Webflow, some of the companies that use Partner Stack to make sure that their partners are happy. We advise many of our post-program market fit clients to demo Partner Stack when they are ready to scale revenue through partnerships. We also talk a lot about co-selling in this podcast. We talk a lot about co-selling between agencies and tech, as well as tech to tech. And one of the platforms that really shines for both sides of our ecosystem, the agencies and the technology, is Reveal. Reveal just launched version 2. They have an amazing UI and UX, and our agencies love it. And this is the thing with these co-selling partnerships, is if one of the two sides does not have the tool that you're trying to use, you can't effectively co-sell. So we recommend Reveal, #1, because it's a great product. #2, because you can integrate CRM for free and map data without hitting a paywall. Many agencies will stop when you try to refer them to a tool that is too expensive, and that will crush your ability to effectively co-sell. With agencies in particular, it's super important. So check out Reveal, book a demo. It's free. Why not? Sendoso is our third sponsor of this show. They've been an awesome sponsor, an awesome partner for us in many ways. They're also in one of our programs, but Sendoso is the top sales and partnerships team's #1 choice for gifting and sending. They are the leading sending platform. Sendoso is the most effective way for revenue teams to generate more revenue and stand out and engage their strategic points of contact throughout the partner journey. So if you're a tech team listening to this, I'm sure your salespeople are using Sendoso or something similar, but check out what they have to offer. They just released a number of new features, both for partners as well as for end users. And it's slick and it is fast and it is robust. So please check out Sendoso, check out Reveal, and check out PartnerStack. Links below. And as usual, enjoy this episode. All right, welcome guys to the show. So Raj, let's start out with this. Can you give us a quick introduction to yourself and the product?
Hi, it's Raj Mupala, founder and CEO of HiX AI. HiX is all about real-time SaaS platform for actionable intelligence on social media and marketing to save time and money for the clients.
Awesome. And one of your awesome agency partners, our friend Massoud. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you for having us on the show, Alex. Hi, I'm Massoud. I'm founder and CEO of Business Intel Pro. We are a digital marketing consultancy and agency primarily specializing in PPC and media buying for e-commerce, SaaS, and real estate.
Yeah, and there's your pretty face there, Massoud. Show you that. And we'll link to these as well. Raj, I'll link to the site so people can check out your product. But today, like always, we want to find out what made the partnership effective early on. So I want to focus this episode, and we'll do a quick episode here, about 25 minutes, on what you guys did initially to activate your first client and get that first case study done effectively. Yes, but get it done as soon as possible, because that's that first thing that needs to get done before Massoud can roll it out as a service to all of his clients. He needs experience in the product. He needs something to talk about, meaning, hey, a client had this much success. And then Raj, the next step for you, which we don't have to get into on this episode, is to take that case study, which is the partnership and all the great things Massoud is doing, and use that as a packaged up marketing tool to get more agencies like Massoud into your partner program. But let's talk about that. I'll go to either one of you. Tell me, whoever wants to start, but where did this relationship start? Who found who? What happened in the first couple of days?
Yeah, I think we kind of both found each other, similarly like how Alex, you and I found each other, right, on LinkedIn. So I was posting a lot on LinkedIn in some niche areas and leaving comments, engaging in conversations with people. Raj happened to stumble upon, those conversations, and he reached out. We connected. We then stayed in touch. We had a brief look into, each other's businesses. And that conversation carried on for about 7 months, up until when we both showed a lot of interest in what more of what Raj was doing, with their tool, because that sat very well with the services that we were rolling out to clients. We hopped on a few calls. We discussed strategies and synergies, how we can partner together and grow each other's businesses on the premise of selling complementary services to common clients. So Raj may have had clients for me, I may have had clients for Raj, and that is something, that we can perhaps talk about another time, that how we've then connected each other to other people as well. And one of those people is, for example, Alex. Today we're on the call, we're connecting 3 ways now. And we want to share that narrative and that story of, us connecting and looking at the partnership. For the case study, I'll leave it with Raj. So what happened was we brought in this lead. It's a very high-end influencer selling educational programs, spending a lot of money on Facebook ads. And that's where the pain point kind of, for me, resonated, with what HiX as a tool was doing, for that client. I saw a pain point, within the industry on the premise of, in essence, media buying and advertising spend. So we thought, okay, we fit very well here. We can work together, roll out the service to my clients, because I can speak their language and I can explain what pain point within what we're doing could potentially be solved with Raj's tool. And then Raj, vice versa, has then gone out there, has spoken to other clients who may benefit from kind of my services and, what my team could do for them, or how we can help them in collaboration, both of us. I'll let Raj now speak about, the case study kind of thing, the lead, which actually nurtured this relationship as well.
Yeah, Raj, and let me frame that and do a quick summary. So for those listening, I think what is going to be super valuable about this discussion is Masood and I can really just help Raj understand, okay, well, let's blow this out. Let's do it right now. I mean, Raj has a great product. He's past product market fit. He's got at least one great agency. I know you have a couple more, but now this is where most founders kind of run into a wall. They say, I need PRM and infrastructure and a partner manager to have a partner program. When you don't, partnerships is really just two people doing stuff together that builds mutual benefit, right? That builds mutual, we call it, we use the pie analogy. So instead of Raj, you going to Massoud and trying to get a piece of the pie that he has, which are his clients, what you're really trying to do is go to Massoud and say, hey, we'll get to your clients later once you trust me and you trust the product. What I want to do with you now is build a new pie together of net new stuff, revenue, clients, leads. Let's build that together. Let's get that done. And then we'll go back and then we'll figure out a good strategy to implement with your clients. And that doesn't mean you need infrastructure. That doesn't mean you need all sorts of bells and whistles and incentives. You really just need to sell Massoud on the idea that you can help him create a new pie over here, which is new business. But Raj, talk to us about what you saw in Massoud, how that qualification internally happened, and then what you proposed to Massoud and anything that you gave him that's different than you would give a direct user, a brand that's using your product, because he has a lot of clients, you want to enable him. So how did that process work? What were some of the things you thought about and did?
Sure, definitely. Alex, this is really great. I think you touched upon a very interesting thing about it's a complementation, isn't it? It's just all about, yes, two companies getting together, two people getting together. You have something great about each other. Obviously, first of all, I believe the great thing is always about the trust, isn't it? You have something and you need to value the other person. Example, in this case, Massoud. I see that he's got a great value in this marketing and advertising. I really see there's a great asset. And also then we realize that how best we can able to help make a bigger kind of value proposition, right? Example, like you mentioned, the analogy of a bigger pie. And we really obviously got to know each other very well, and we do understand the pain points of the customers, and exactly why most customers have this pain point. An example, what is happening, what else is the market. I think that's how I think we build that rapport over a period of some time, and also the relationship grew. And I think that's how I think we kind of give that valuable support to each other. Hey, we can complement you with this, so that we can able to make that to a bigger brand. And also at the end of the day, to help clients, right? And I hope it makes sense. Obviously, this is all about start with something small. Just give your best to other person to see and listen to them, and just make something bigger.
Exactly. So you've got contact. You guys have both qualified each other for both product trust level in some way, shape, or form. Now you kind of have to say, okay, well, what am I going to do first, second, third, and then roll it out to all of my clients, like we mentioned. So let's talk about that next thing that you thought about doing, Massoud, and how did that come about?
So that would come intrinsically to, for example, to someone like me, after we've done that marriage of partnership, for a service that could be a well fit for common kind of clients on both ends. I would then go on about that, bringing that into conversations with our clients, that how we have now kind of, in your analogy, Alex, become a pie, and in that pie, we now have something else that is that other clients are benefiting from. And you can perhaps, look into this. And lucky enough, Raj then has given an access to, like free trials for clients, and they can see it in real time, what we're doing for other people and what we can do for them. So we're really at the early stage of the kind of partnership, so we've got a commission model, we've got like a sales mutual effort model, and we've got a services to each other kind of model in place as well. But I can understand, a kind of a bigger pain point that you're trying to address, Alex, which is like, how would you then scale the partnership? I think that is a problem at large in the industry. That's when platforms like yourselves come handy, where we can, sit somewhere on common ground and track in real time, because our job is not to track our relationship. We're here to track our own businesses and our own performance. So that's a great thing, beautiful thing that you've got there in place. And the moment I connected with Raj, first thing came to my mind was partnerprograms.io, and we came into this podcast, to start from here.
I love it. Thank you. Always great working with you. So this is important. So the human element of the partnership, I think, like I mentioned, is what gets lost. I think too many CEOs put up their own roadblocks and it's unnecessary. So yes, as you get successful, Raj, you'll want to find someone that can manage these partnerships effectively. So Masood's going to have a lot of needs as he has 10 clients on your product, 20, 30. His needs are going to compound from there. And that's where you want to get him support. So if he needs something, he should have a little bit of a fast track level of support, because if something breaks for him, you could potentially lose tens of, dozens of users potentially. So there's some priority level there. So a partner manager is going to be effective and necessary at that stage. But in your mind, Raj, you want more Masouds, of course. There are plenty of PPC agencies out there. What is your agenda at this stage? And I think the stage, to recap, is you've got a couple partners, a couple use cases developed, and now you have to kind of figure out what's the next step for you. So talk to me about that. In your mind, what do you think the next steps are?
No, this is a really great point, actually, right? When you're small, I think obviously you have a lot of time to go through for sure. An example, I think what I really value is about, before you get to the scale, obviously you just need to make sure that this thing works with one agency, as an example, one good person, like Masood, an example. And obviously we just give it the best in terms of the training, in terms of obviously be there for him, demos as much as possible, free account, free trials. Obviously, once you engage that level of, the support, obviously, that is actually there for a longer time. And that, as you touch base upon at the same point again, this is so valuable. I think where I'm right now, at the same time, from our companies, like how do we scale? And obviously, we need to replicate this kind of model at scale using platforms like yours, an example, how do we complement, like maybe different niche agencies doing something different, so that at least, if at all is a value fit. That's how I think, I just look at, again, finding the relationship sometimes take time, maybe weeks, sometimes could be months. It's again the same level of time and patience and the trust. That's how I think you build a very trusted, solid relationship in the beginning, and then you can just go on.
So we talk about these people called power partners, right? This you see with platforms like ClickUp, like Airtable. They don't have formalized partner programs. They have a group of experts that are the approved consulting partners of Airtable and ClickUp. Airtable, it's even less formalized. ClickUp, a little more formalized, but they still don't market a partner program. But they have people like like Masood, that are in specific category types, in this case, project management experts, that they enable and they work really closely with. And the benefit for them is obviously when this group is done, meaning you may not want 200 partners, you may just want 50 really close partners, and then you want to go back to direct marketing to the brands. But instead of hiring additional customer success people, I apologize about the ambulance. Instead of hiring and scaling your customer success function, your customer success looks like this. Client comes to your funnel, or user, comes to your funnel, Raj. They sign up for a demo. On that demo, your team is tasked with listening for things like, do they have an agency consultant working with them on PPC stuff? If not, one of the immediate things is proposing that they get on a call with one of their experts. Instead of saying, no, we can answer your questions, and not providing them any introductions to any agencies. And the reason they do that is because if I am working with ClickUp without a consulting partner, the chances of me upgrading to enterprise or upgrading to premium are going to be very low compared to if I had a consulting partner with me. I'm going to tier up almost immediately, right? So Masood, getting into calls with your clients and helping you develop this core power partner group is in his best interest as well. If he is confident and he wants to continue selling services around your solution. So the word scale, we don't like to use at all, but I think the first year, if not forever, of any platform partner program like yours, you're not a simple tool. You're not like a little chat bot that can be implemented in 5 minutes. You're a tool that really deserves, I think, an expert like Massoud to be involved in the PPC campaign management of. So instead of scaling, I would look at it like, how can we get 20 to 50 Massouds well-trained and enabled into a partner directory, and then get Massoud to link to that partner directory on his site to create a landing page offering services and even mention your solution in that landing page. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but he mentions your keywords. And then you'll go back to marketing direct to customers. And then as soon as those 50 partners are tapped out, meaning they're just full, they can't accept any more referrals from you, then you go back and maybe add another 20, right? What do you think about that?
This is really powerful, actually. You know what, you really touched a very, very interesting point about that. I think I really like that. I think this is really great. I think one thing really that I liked about this, Masood, in fact, is doing that. An example that, ever since we started to collaborating, I think he was joining our calls to understanding the pain points of the customer. In example, obviously we can talk about the tech product, about what it can do, what it cannot do. But Masood was really, really good about an example like any agency. I think this is what I would really like a partner to understand the benefits and also the pain point of the customer. And I think, then that's actually the biggest, what we call the trick, right? Example, once you get the connection right, then I think it's easy, right? The flow is very natural. And then obviously you can just, go out and, complement each other. And, like you mentioned, yes, we're not a kind of a consulting agency. So obviously we have someone like that. In that case, and obviously they can complement and actually do the whole service, like solutioning and everything on the PPC campaign and stuff. Whereas we are specialized in that product platform. I think this is very valuable.
And you just touched, and we'll go back to you, Massoud, after this, but you just touched on a really good point. You are never going to be the expert in PPC management. You can't. You're building a product now. It doesn't matter if you used to be an agency and you used to be a PPC expert. Now on, you are CEO of the product. Your job is distributed across a bunch of functions. You cannot know a lot about PPC. Correct. You can hire some specialists, but as soon as they get into customer success or sales functions, they're immediately no longer the experts. So you need to connect your customers with experts to ensure, like I mentioned, quick upgrades as well as retention. Quick upgrades and retention. So Massoud, the question I think back to you is A, what do you think about all that? And then I want to get into, with the time that we have remaining, how Raj can keep you as a partner and really incentivize you to stay and to grow with him, because there's competitors out there. You're going to get people knocking on your door that do compete directly with Raj. What can he do to maintain this tight relationship and grow it?
We have synergies, we have similar frequency of, understanding, and our vision is aligned. So there's an element of trust, Alex, and then there's an element of, the foreseeable future, growth for both businesses.
Trust sounds like number one. Communication is a part of that, I think. And this is more for Raj. When you're in these early days with a partner, like any new relationship, like you're dating, right? When you're dating for the first 2 weeks, first 2 months, even, it's like any little thing can throw that person off and you can lose the relationship, right? Same thing with partnerships. If, for example, if that first client that Massoud sends over, he sends you a client, he says, hey, this is my client. I want you to onboard them, because he's not an expert in your product yet. He says, I want you to onboard them and I want you to get them set up on an account. And you've promised Massoud, hey, your first client is free, as a way to get Massoud activated, hypothetically. This is a good trick for any of not a trick, I think an incentive for any teams listening. Try to give an agency a free account, whatever you can do. Give them an account for themselves to use if they can. If they're not going to be a user of that type of tool, give their first client referral a free account. At least to some level, not an enterprise level account, but a free account. So you've given him a free account. He says, I want to use my free account on this one client. And he sends you the lead. Then you're in conversation with that user, and that user is now in your CRM. and you are off doing other things. And now you're hiring your sales team, you're building your sales team, and your sales team is after revenue. And they go into this user's account and they just start bombarding that user with upgrade this and get on a call and demo this. And you made the mistake of not segmenting your partners in the CRM effectively, not tagging them and not making notes. And then you didn't train your sales team on how to deal with users that are coming from a partner versus a user that came direct that doesn't have a partner. You didn't train them well, or the sales director didn't train them well on that. Then that client goes back to Massoud and says, I can't believe you sent me there. It was the worst experience. And then has a negative experience with Massoud as an agency because of that referral. So that's a part of communication. It is part of just operations in general and partner operations. But Massoud, I wanted to ask you, have you experienced anything like that with partners where you aren't maintained as the crux of the relationship and they kind of circumvent you in a way, if that makes sense?
Yes, I have noticed that in the past, with other SaaS. I mean, I don't want to name people out. It's more about a dashboard native to them, and internally managing the partnership on the premise of what do you bring in the table, and this is how we kind of reward that. So in essence, they did lack a kind of funnel that you've described, right? Where it actually works on retaining that relationship and also segmenting that relationship. Well, I can recall, once I recommended to one of the tech partners, that would they be happy to look into incentivizing the product to their customer through the partnership, so that's one step further away, from what we're doing, That was something, that I used in the past for one of the clients, worked very well, So if we bring in a lead through us, what is it extra that they're going to get, Okay, we earn commission or we earn whatever, another lead in return, but what is in it for them, to make it, attractive enough, okay, we can add the value to it. So I realized that tech partners were not very open-minded in terms of building that triangle around the relationship. It was more native to the business and away from the partners.
We talk about these things called circles, and this is another strategy for you, Raj, and then we'll go back to you with any final questions. But I want to touch on the early stage tech stack. So how to manage this partner program that you have versus a later stage tech stack, and reiterate for the audience why you should think about not scaling your program now, if not ever. Some products and programs are built to scale, but most of you listening should never even think about scaling, and think about those 20 to 50 power partners in your first year, if not 2 years, and then grow with their book of business. As you send them leads and they send them right back saying, I can't take anymore, that's a good indication that you should add more consulting partners. But Raj, the circle is this. You have Massoud now. You have integrations and you have other agencies that are not competitive with Massoud. So one of the things I tell my founders that are at this stage is try to find circles within your ecosystem. You have your own ecosystem. Introduce Massoud to your partner manager at another tech company that you're integrated with. Get Massoud in conversations with that person as soon as possible, so that Massoud could potentially tie your tool to that other tool, integrate for his clients and for that service success. That could be something you have as a use case, maybe not. But the other part of the circle is find another agency partner that does not directly compete with Massoud on the service level, or maybe on the target vertical. If Massoud is really focused on healthcare, this person's really focused on, manufacturing, but they're both doing PPC, they could still potentially be partners. Get those two in a conversation as well, and get them to start referring business back and forth between the two of them. And now you have 3 ties to Massoud, which strengthens the partnership as well. So then you're not as worried about just the product to maintain the relationship with Massoud, because your product will be going like this, it'll dip and this, and then he'll need something, but you can't backlog it, or you can't get it in production as soon as he needs. But the fact that he's providing a service with your integration partner that is specifically between the two of you, adds a layer of stickiness, and the fact that you've introduced him to these new agencies that are sending him business adds a reciprocation sort of stickiness, like an IOU sort of stickiness, and he'll maintain his partnership with you, given some product dips. But questions about all that, and then I want to go to partner tech stack at this stage. Raj, any questions? Or
No, I think you actually made a very, very good point, actually, not about the circle analogy, but really it's about sometimes when you're growing up, for sure, because there are so many agencies out there for sure, right? Because, an example, there's an agency with 1,000 people, there's an agency with 50 people, there's an agency specialized in that. Obviously, you don't want to create a conflict of interest, an example, for anyone. Okay, we only working with this. Obviously, what you have to make it also like it's a transparent that this is for the benefit of everyone, right? That actually is very valuable, because actually thanks for bringing the topic, that at least that way, everyone can able to complement whatever the scale of the business they're running on, right? Maybe a huge business, they can only deal with a big agency. A niche business can only deal with that particular e-commerce company, like example, Massoud. I think this is really great, the circular analogy. I think I like that. And also really about not to think about scaling up with left, right, and center, but just focusing on the valuable relationships, right? Could be 5 or 10, make them very good. And also, like an example, give that partner first approach, right? Give the relationship, maintain the relationship with the partner and their client. Partner first, that's really good.
Perfect. And you mentioned bigger agency, smaller agency, an anecdote and a strategy for that, and this is for you to do with Masood, for tech companies that are small, that are not the category leader. Most of you listening are not category leaders. And are fearful, like Masood will get a call one day or an email one day from the category leader offering him something that looks really attractive. Another strategy that's Up Content, a client of ours that was only 5 employees at the time. They won a partnership with Hawk Media, which is one of our larger agencies. They're an investor of ours. And the way he did it, we worked together on the strategy, but the way he did it was he approached Hawk with everything Hawk would need to sell services on top of Up Content. He gave them landing pages on his website before he even approached them. He had a landing page on his website. He had a deck that was white labeled, which Hawk Media's sales team could just email out with their brand on it. I think he put their brand on it, their logo, in their colors and everything. That was all about how you can sell this content optimization, or how they should be optimizing their content in whatever way, which was on top of Up Content as a product. And he even gave them a specific email address for CCing all of their client needs, so that he could separate Hawk's partner needs as well as any client stuff that they needed into that email. And I think he even connected that email into Zendesk in a certain way, so that anytime Hawk's clients or Hawk Media's team had issues, they would have specific Zendesk tickets. And he came to them with all this stuff, and it was like almost an impossible conversation to say no to. He teed it up for him, right? And then what's cool about this is, like, you can have, for Masood, have a landing page on your site that talks about his agency and his services. The other strategy there is Masood is, he's going to talk about your product to some clients, but it's difficult for an agency just to push product, and they won't do it. Most agencies, the good agencies, won't push product on their clients. But if you have a landing page on your website talking about the services Masood sells on top of your product, how great he's doing with one of those clients, put the case study link in there. Masood is definitely going to at least link to that on his website. If not, he's going to send a client over to that page, that specific URL, because it makes him look good. Then he looks like he's a thought leader, which he is, but it makes him more of a thought leader in the PPC space. And it gives him a backlink, make it a do follow backlink back to his site. And it's got his logo and branding on it. I would send my traffic there all day long, but I won't send people to your homepage. Any questions about that? And then I want to get into the text.
No, that's a fantastic. Obviously, that sounds very music to me. So it's more biased towards me, but there's a lot of value in that, right? Because I would naturally start sending that as a case study, whilst it is sat elsewhere, as a backlink, on a third-party site, which also happens to be our go-to place, our go-to partner as well. So if they did end up, then navigating around the Raj's website, for example, and looking at the homepage, they may come back to us to give them a brief, and usually, if someone else is vouching for a product, it generates a hot lead, a ready to convert lead, and then Raj can convert. Like you said, if I may not kind of put it back on our website as a backlink to link back to it, we might use it in referrals, in emails, in LinkedIn messages, or pasting it into different conversation across the internet and forums.
I love it. I love it. This is perfect. I'm showing an example here. If you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, you'll see it. If you're not, and you're listening to it, what I'm showing here is two specific examples of where one of our tech partners, if you will, or just a tech that we use, gave us something on their website, which we send our traffic to. So this is journey.io, great product, Raj. If you don't have a really good onboarding product, journey.io, check it out. This is our actual onboarding journey that we built for agencies to onboard into our ecosystem. They just embed it here. And if I want to use Journey for community onboarding, I don't know really what to do, but Journey likes the way partner programs did it. And then they embed it here. Then they send me the link and say, hey, you've got our a use case or a case study on our website. Here's the link for it. I'm going to send anybody, any one of my clients right to here. Whereas before I would struggle to send them links to Journey. I probably wouldn't do it, but now I'm going to. And then the other one is the Airtable universe. When you get bigger, obviously you can have a bunch of different use cases for your product, make those branded by the agency. This is something Databox, one of our investors as well, does better than most. They have branded templates where an agency can submit how they set up their BI dashboard in Databox, and users of Databox or traffic for Databox can go to that page and onboard into Databox using Massoud's BI dashboard, right? So they don't even have to think about it. But what that does for Massoud is, yes, it gives them that landing page to send traffic to. Yes, it makes him look awesome as a thought leader. And I'll show you here just because it's relevant. But also, it gives him leads. So he gets leads all day long. So this is Pepperland Marketing on Databox.com. They have 3 templates that they built in Databox, and they have 9,000 downloads of that template, these templates. When I click on the template landing page, it has a link to Pepperland Marketing. It has created by Pepperland Marketing. And if I'm a potential user of Databox, I'm going to use this template. If I run into any problems, I'm going to go to Pepperland Marketing. And now they have a new client from Databox. This is what I advise any tech company that can do it. Work with Masood on a case study. That's good for marketing. But if you really want to build partnerships into your product, into your culture, into everything you're doing, create a partner themes, partner templates, partner guides, whatever you want to call them. Create a directory of those, and Masood's can be the first. And it's really how Massoud does this with your product. Articulate that on a landing page, and then put Masood's logo and information on that landing page. Questions about that?
No, not for me. I really quite like that.
This is very good. Thank you, Alex, for sharing that. This is really something very, very new for me, and also is very interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely look into it when we have a call between me and Raj.
I love it. I would hope so. So let's get to the tech stack conversation, and then we'll end on this. I'm going to pull up a couple links here that you can see if you're watching this. But first thing is this, commissions. Before you start going into the commission conversation, I know you guys have already had this and you already have conversations about commissions. Have that ad hoc in the early days. Commissions shouldn't be a part of your program's incentives. And the reason for that is, number one, if you pay commissions, you got to track that. You got to pay it out internationally. It becomes a logistical sort of nightmare. Number two, commissions are a contractual obligation, meaning If I offer to pay you commissions, you don't even care. Maybe you never even asked for it. But since it's in my contract, now you're going to ask for it on future deals and maybe even past deals. So I've created this sort of debt collector type of person in my program. Number 3, and the most important, is most agencies, your commissions will not be a factor. Agencies like money, like all CEOs. Massoud's not going to say no to $500 check, $1,000 check, whatever. But if you look at the napkin math of your commissions, even if your commissions are of any scale, like you're paying Massoud 10 grand a year in commissions, the service revenue that he's making from those clients that created the 10 grand in commission is going to be 500K, maybe more than that. So is your 10 grand moving the needle? Number 4, the agency is never going to think about commissions when deciding whether to refer you business. They're going to refer you a client if they believe that that client needs your product and if they believe that it's going to be good for their business, right? They're never going to stop and think, is he going to pay me for this? And if he's not, I'm not going to send my client a link or share the business with my client. Never. Okay, let's talk about the tech stack then. When you get to a scale, meaning you have hundreds of partners and multiple things going on with all of those partners, and you do pay commission. And the other factor is IT ecosystem. When you're selling into IT resellers, Monday.coms of the world, they play in this space where it's an easy to understand product and I can get it into a lot of marketplaces at once. PartnerStack's right now is a PRM, but they're moving more towards the plumbing of your IT marketplace, software buying marketplaces. They're becoming the plumbing for that, right? So if you believe your product is right for that type of buyer, resellers, IT ecosystems, marketplaces, you can plug into PartnerStack. And then they do have multi-tier commission payouts and management. You can send emails, track referrals, all that fun stuff from a typical PRM. That's at scale. Now, the early days, what should you use today? Obviously, Partner Hub. You can create an account. You can be listed for free. You can serve your partnership up to agencies that sell to the same customer profile, and the agency can manage everything related to that partnership in one place. All the referrals for you, as well as their other partners, agency and tech, document exchange, chat, activity, all of the stuff that you need to do to co-market, co-sell with partners is all mapped out. So Massoud doesn't have to know what's next. You don't have to know what's next. The app provides you the next steps. And at any time, anybody on either of your teams can log in and say, we are account mapping with these individuals and these partners. We've reached out to these, but they haven't gotten back to us yet. And we have these guys in trusted partner status. And then we have these other people in prospective partner status, right? And you can run reports and all that. Referrals have come and gone either direction. And that is all free. So saving money is a big part of our early stage partner programs. The other software I'll recommend is called Reveal. Getting more out of the partnership both ways means introducing each other to pipeline leads. How do you decide who to introduce to who? Yes, your client has to ask you about the service and they have to be in the service, but there's probably a lot of people in your newsletter. There's probably a lot of people in your pipeline that you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe you didn't close them on something. Map accounts, meaning connect both of your pipelines to Reveal. This will show you the Venn diagram of what you guys are both selling to. So in that Venn diagram in the middle are the leads that you are both prospecting or the accounts you are both closed. Go into that list and you see yours and Massoud, you see yours. You don't share the actual data with each other, but you see how much overlap you have. And if there's 20 accounts in there, you guys can decide, I want to share just the company names. And then you go through those lists and say, Massoud, I think this company would be perfect for our platform. What can we do to get them onto the platform? And Massoud may not have talked to that company in a while, but Raj, you can say, hey, send them an email saying, I'm going to give you a $5,000 credit to this platform and a free account and that will get Massoud into a conversation with that client that he hasn't talked to in a while, or maybe it was a lead that never bought his service. So now you've helped Massoud get into a conversation, and also you've got a new client of Massoud's onto your platform, and Massoud can do the same thing. He can say, offer that company a free optimization of their Facebook campaigns from me. You have my permission. And then when they agree, just introduce us via email. And you can run that routine every month. It's called account mapping and co-selling, right? These two tools are free, Partner Hub and Reveal. And then the other stuff you'll have to do can be managed through Google Drive and Slack.
Okay, nice. That's actually really good.
Any questions before we go? I think we've laid it all out for the listeners. This is very useful for them.
I don't have any specific questions. I think I quite like, what you've described. And we've actually learned quite new things as well, especially in the premise of, kind of SaaS for partnerships, So it's just nice. Thanks for enlightening us on that, and for some of the advice from your very rich expertise and career that you bring from your past experiences. We are kind of on the early stage kind of thing, like partnerships with new young tech startups is a kind of new thing for us, So some of the things we can actually relate to, and it resonates with us. Some of the things I think we're a bit young for it to get caught up on, with what you've described. But we've definitely taken it on board. I think we have a common ground, for that triangle that I refer to, whether it's between tech partners and agencies, or whether there's a mediation like yourselves, like these platforms that you've just shown us. Makes it very easy, makes it attractive. I think it looks good on then bringing the clients, flowing them from one to another as well, to see that there's actually a manageable medium for this between the two partners working together. So that's quite useful. So again, thank you very much. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having us on your show. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Pleasure discussing, conferring some of these strategies and the importance of partnership.
Pleasure's all mine. Raj, any final thoughts? Any questions?
No, it's really great, Alex. Yes, it's really great. Thanks. I've learned a lot actually about the partnerships today, because I thought I knew from some of it, but actually you gave a good perspective. Again, thanks again for that. And again, thanks for having us in the show and talk about it and also learn more. And definitely I look forward to use the platform as well. You build a great platform for companies like us, and maybe an example to just use that, save time. And again, just to how to minimize everything, whatever we do, right? Example, like partnerships, co-selling, upselling, it's really, really great. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited. Maybe you guys, if you do a lot more together, let me know, Massoud. And we can do a follow-up in 6 months from now, once you guys have a lot of business together. And
I think that would be fantastic. I think we'll be very far ahead in 6 months' time, in terms of partnership and how we've grown on the domain of partnership, and then we can do a follow-up probably show and see the difference.
Let's do it. Let's plan on that. I'll set a reminder in 6 months, and I'd love to know what you ended up doing on the incentive side, how you rolled out, the different levels of partnership, what you decided to do, what you called these individuals, consultant partners, experts, implementation partners. That's sometimes interesting. And then whether you rolled in certifications or anything in there, and see just what happened and what the effect was. Thanks for putting this together, Massoud. Always a pleasure, man.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
To start sharing our solution.